So let's get straight into it. 44th running of the PGG Wrightson Breeders' Stakes, and of course Louisiana Belle Midford looking to create history. Here she is, rolling to the outside and delivering a knockout blow to her older rivals.
Louisiana Belle Midford, Eva Sofinelli. It's Louisiana Belle Midford though. She's away 2 lengths on Valalaster into second, and a great go for third, but she had the gun run, and Louisiana Belle Midford has won the Breeders over Valalaster.
Almost deja vu to the Sales Series final, wasn't it, where you've ended up in the perfect spot and she's dashed away?
Yeah, I wish it was the same paycheck, but no, she's gone great.
Let's talk about Nigel McGrath and the fact he's put her in this race. It's gutsy play, as we've seen, history shows us. Not many fillies go into it, and not only has she gone in it, he's got her to win it.
Yeah, it was a big call, all right. I seen the noms and I thought madness, but no, it's turned out to be a great move, and you know, he's just had this horse, you know, primed for the big days.
She's really stepped up, hasn't she, Matthew? Because probably 6 weeks ago you were thinking, yeah, we might be able to get a Group 1 placing, but now she's gone a long way ahead in her career, hasn't she?
Oh, no doubt. Like start of the season, she just looked a good maiden, you know, and you know, she just, like I said, Nigel's had her primed at the right time.
Hasn't heard of the run anyway. She's missed me by mere centimetres a couple of times now, but congratulations to you, mate. Group 1s are hard to come by, and you're certainly driving in great form. Well done.
Yeah, I think she's aiming for me, but anyway, thanks, Greg.
Matthew Williamson getting the business done. Of course, gate speed here. Many of her better credentialed rivals were off the back row, and she was always drawn to get to the markers and therefore get a great run.
She created history, Greg, but let's be fair, this wasn't a stellar Group 1 field for the Breeders' Stakes. You can only beat what's in front of you, and she got a lovely trip. This race wasn't on her radar early on, Greg. They'd put a nomination in because they were actually thinking of lining earlier up in the night, and they weren't eligible for the 1 to 2 race. She was a Class 3 mare, so Nigel McGrath and the owners looked at it, and when the field came out, they got the good barrier draw. They ended up the right spot. Matthew Williamson got the filly into the trail, and from there she was going to be very competitive. Nice run, Valalaster, sat for the fence, got home nicely in behind them. Of the rest, probably one unlucky runner out of the race, Democrat Party. Didn't get a lot of luck, and she'll go to Sunday down south. Yeah,
look, that was her 3rd win, Dino, in her last 4 starts, and she's accumulated almost 150,000 across that part of her career.
Yeah, they've had a good couple of months, the Moonies, the owners of this filly, and this has just rolled into last Friday night, where she has just got the right run and been far too good for them. Had the race won a long way out.
Yeah, Valalaster, nice for the old Spud and Onion man, Ivan Court, Group 1 placing for her, and Delnice Exchange has done a great job.
Well, with Robert Dunn, yeah, she won preparation and going super at the moment. The start was key, and we'll have a look at that now with her drawing so nicely, and better be amazed with her gate speed. It was a scenario that probably panned out on paper, and it worked out on race night. Matthew Williamson, he's behind brother Brad and Nate on the table, but he's got plenty more money in the bank now after getting this one home. 500,000 stakes for him this season, so he's a money man. He likes the money. He's very happy with that. What about the American Ideals, fillies? I mean, last year we saw Start Dreaming, the Orange Agent. 2 years ago, Ideal Belle. This year, we've got another winner in Louisiana Belle Midford. The fillies for American Ideal doing a great job.
Now, obviously, Mark and Natalie bought 2 mares back, Linda Lovegrace and Fight for Glory. On the face of it, they were disappointing. We'll hear more about that in a moment. But Fight for Glory is clearly not at her best, Craig.
No, she's not. I mean, the Queen of Hearts seems a long time ago since she won that, Greg. But she's obviously got her issues. Hey, they threw the dice. Well done on them. It was a race that, as I say, lacked a lot of depth in there with no Orange Agent, with no Lance with Lizzie. They thought we could have a crack at it. And, hey, it didn't work out. They've got nothing to prove.
All right. They have completed their careers, so let's hear what Mark Purdon had to say about that.
Mark, Fight for Glory tonight, just a little bit disappointing.
Yes, that's right, Matthew. We've had our issues with her in the past, but we tried something different, but no, I don't think it's worked out.
She's got a big group of owners from the start. She's always been a fantastic filly and now mare, hasn't she?
Yeah, yes, definitely. She's done us proud, and you know, she really doesn't have to do any more.
And Linda Lovegrace has kind of gone off as well, but early on in her career she was very good too.
Oh yes, she was, and she's bankrolled a lot of money and done a good job for us as well, and but both the girls are sort of feeling the effects of some hard racing, I think.
Yeah, so both of them retired. That was their last runs. Both won 14 races, Fight for Glory, over $600,000. And I think I'll remember her for her tenaciousness. I don't think she was the most brilliant filly, but man, she was in a dogfight. She was the one to beat, and she proved that a couple of times.
When she was on the top of her game, and her Oaks victory was then, and in form in Australia leading up to the Queen Hearts, she was a very, very, very good stayer, Greg. That's what I'd put her credentials down to, her staying pedigree. She'll be a very valuable broodmare, and looking forward to seeing her yearlings come through.
Yep, she's already down at Diane Cornane part owner's farm and getting a lovely rest for her before she, of course, goes to the breeding barn. Let's move on to one of the other features from Friday night. It was the Resource Recycling Technologies Superstars Championship. Turned out to be a real tactical race, this. Field Marshal was always going to land in front of Lockerburn, but of course Lockerburn didn't get all favours earlier on in the race.
Field Marshal still in front. Lockerburn's roaming out of time, and Field Marshal won the Superstars. Has beaten Lockerburn and Tasman Bromac.
And congratulations to you, Blair Orange. A bit of a step back in time in many ways. Developed your skills under the services of Timothy Button to get a feature race win for him. That'll be a big thrill.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. You know, Tim was sort of the guy that kick-started my career right from a young age. So, it's fantastic to reward him with a win on this horse tonight.
Look, it was always going to be a tactical affair with Lockerburn dropping back. Being in front of him was a key advantage, and you took full advantage of that.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what happened early, Greg, but, quick as a trick can get a bit racy, and she lit it up early, and, we managed to stay out of that early dogfight, and, it worked out to our advantage.
What sort of feel did he give you, this guy? He's about to give you another feel with his boot in a minute, but he was clearly a horse with immense ability, had a minor issue. Tim got that sorted out, and now he's right up to this class, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, Greg. He got that perfect trip that you need in these type of races, and when I brought him out of the 1-1 top of the lane there, he was actually going to win by 5 lengths, mate, but he knocked off, and Tim and Dexter warned me that's what he can do, and it may look like he's getting a little bit leg weary near the end, but he just sort of went to sleep, mate.
All right, continues a very good season for you. Well done.
Cheers, Greg.
He's won a dozen races now, Field Marshal. Lead time there crucial, 22.1, sitting off the speed, and more importantly in front of Lockerburn. And of course, Ideal and Diamonds posted out 3 wide, meant that Dexter couldn't move well into the race.
I think that you hit the nail on the head. That was the key moment of the race. Dexter wanted to go a lot earlier than he eventually did. But what happening with Ideal and Diamonds in front of it, he had to wait till it came back through the field, and by that time we're at the 800 metre mark. Blair Orange, I thought this race was going to be a banana skin race for Lockerburn, because I always thought he's going to get a long way back behind the eventual winner. He couldn't have gone any better than he did, Greg. I mean, he's posted his last mile 155. He's run home in 54.8, and he's been 4 wide on the track doing it. He's lost nothing to me. The difference of the race was the barrier draws and what happened mid-stages.
Yeah, and of course, Field Marshal will head north now, Taylor Mile, Messenger,
yeah,
and the Jewels. So,
and it's nice for Tim Butt to get a good horse again. I mean, he's going through a rebuilding phase, Greg. I mean, I think he trained 6 winners last year. We go back to the Halcyon days where he trained 60 winners. He's rebuilding. He's got some nice stock coming through. This horse is going to take him to the Jewels, obviously the Taylor Mile and the Messenger. He's going to be very competitive in those races. And at the moment, he's sitting, I think, 3rd on the Jewels leaderboard.
Yeah, he's a lovely horse, isn't he?
Yeah, I just wondered whether you thought Field Marshal might have been holding him at the line.
He pulls up and he waits for them. That's what he does.
Field
Marshal.
Yeah. But he was. I don't think, at the line. I think, he was certainly holding the margin on Lockerburn. So I think he had his chance to run the other horse down. Absolutely, his run was full of merit. But he's got a lovely horse here. He's won 5 from 6 this season since he debuted at Addington in December, and 2 of them have been on premier nights. So he's done a big job.
Yep, and he's won 4 on the bounce. Let's go back to the start. Blair had to sum this up very quickly. He could easily have taken a trail behind Quick as a Trick. As you see, Jess Young there, this horse can get on the nickel early, and it was a decent old battle early on. Joey Maguire had a look, but Blair just sitting one off.
He summed this race off.
Yeah, he did.
He summed this race up perfectly. Obviously knew Quick as a Trick's a horse that pulls very hard. He could have taken the trail, but he didn't. He got a bit of cover, Greg, and that was the winning and losing of the race. On Lockerburn, he'll be turned out now and head towards what is going to be a New Zealand Cup, Greg, and what's going to be a stellar crop of horses in the Cup this year. He'll take on horses like Have Faith in Me, Smolder. We'll talk about what's going to happen later on.
Yeah, all right, let's hear from Dexter. He'll tell us his thoughts around Lockerburn's run.
Dexter, Lockerburn, what are your immediate impressions of the run?
Yeah, I was really happy with Matt. His first time he backed up like that this season, and he felt great. So, his last half would have been impressive. And he really hit the line great, again. So, happy all round.
So that's Dexter talking about Lochaburn there, and of course his run was very, very good, but Field Marshal was too good on the night. Let's move to the Vero Flying Stakes. Mentioned before how crucial this race is leading in. 12 have gone on from winning this and then to win the Derby. Here was a brilliant racetrack stretch battle up the home straight.
Classy Brigade half a length. Lazarus still coming. The leader Classy Brigade ahead. Lazarus determination. Guts are going to get him home. And Lazarus won the Flying Stakes a neck. Beat Classy Brigade and Swamp Major.
Well, Mark, he is the benchmark in terms of the 3-year-olds, but he had his work cut out tonight by Classy Brigade, who's no slouch.
No, that's right. No, he certainly stepped up, Classy Brigade, and he took all the way down the straight to beat him tonight.
You got a nice card into the race early on, got around to the park position, but just coming off that final bend, he looked to be slightly vulnerable. How did he feel to you?
No, well, to be honest, Greg, I thought he sort of handled the last corner the best he has, so I'm sure another week up our sleeve he'll be better again, but he got round it pretty good.
And you were always confident of picking Classy Brigade up because he just has an enormous will to win this horse.
Yes, this horse does, but Classy Brigade's been racing real good. I saw him at Invercargill the other week and I thought how much he'd improved, but this guy's, he hasn't raced for a good while and I'm sure he'll benefit from the run.
All right, it's the key lead up to the Derby, as we know, Mark. He looks spot on for next week's assignment. Congratulations.
Thanks, Greg.
So that's Mark Purdon talking about this outstanding 3-year-old. He is unbeaten, and all the punters will be suggesting that this week that will remain the same.
Well, it'll be the same Quinella, Greg, I believe, because Classy Brigade's drawn 1 and he's drawn 2 the second row. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the program. You're right, he's 8 from 8 this season, quite a remarkable record, and $500,000 in stakes. I watched that race from on my couch and I thought, Ricky's driven a peach of a race on Classy Brigade. I reckon he's got this other horse. But as Lazarus does, he lifted at the 200-metre mark. Greg, after this race, after the Derby, he's going to be put aside. It was what we found out later in the program, a move that they're heading towards the New Zealand Cup. Did this surprise you?
Yeah, it did really. I know it sort of come as a bit of a bolt out of the blue, but he's had those minor issues. I know that they probably got blown out of proportion, but he's had those minor issues, and once again, he lay in around that last bend, and that's why I asked Mark the question, but he has such a strong will to win that they'll want to give him a nice break. Now, if they carry on to the Jewels, then he gets less time. to get over that.
And with Mark's admiration on this horse, he keeps comparing him to Il Vocolo, who obviously won a cup at 4. So he's obviously knows that horse is good enough at an early age of 4 to compete in the New Zealand Cup. It's an intriguing battle, though, isn't it? Because the All-Stars could have 4 in the Cup this year. Yeah. They could have Smolder, they could have Border Control, Have Faith in Me, and Lazarus. Quite an exciting time.
It is, and this is the sort of horse that brings people to the races. Not just the mere fact that he's unbeaten as a 3-year-old, but he's an exciting type, isn't he?
Well, he's got a great name too. Let's a good horse with a good name is always a lot easier to sell.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think $1.15 on the corner, I think you would have been a wee bit nervous. I think the other, I probably agree with Craig, the Nigel McGrath's horse on the corner was that's probably the one you wanted to be on. So drawn 1, 2,600, probably. The draw will be in his favour on Friday night, Classy Brigade, and I think with some of the money that's getting thrown around in circles about, he's doing a bang-up job, Classy Brigade. He'll be very hard to beat.
Well, in any other year, he's probably the leading 3-year-old. I mean, he ran 3rd in the Sire Stakes final, and he's got better since then.
He has got better, definitely. Yeah.
He must hate chasing Lazarus. He's chased him 4 times home place this season in group races, Classy Brigade. So without no Lazarus, he's earned probably $300,000 more in stakes. But on him this week, he's always been a better star, Classy Brigade. I still don't think the gap's closed enough that he can turn that around on Lazarus this week.
All right, let's hear from those drivers just in behind the star 3-year-old.
Well, Ricky, turning for home, it looked as though you had a bit of an advantage, but Lazarus quite simply was a little bit too good.
Yeah, no, I thought, it's my one chance of beating him. It's the first time he's ever drawn inside him, so we had a go, and the other horse was just too strong at the finish, but I give my guy his dues. He never give it in. He fought with him all the way down the straight. So, I mean, it's probably got the closest to any other horse in the Southern Hemisphere this year. So, he got that as a plus.
That toughness, do you think that'll be carried through to the 2,600 of the Derby?
Oh, I don't think it'll be any problem. my guy hadn't raced for 3 weeks. I think he probably needed a run, but probably Lazarus did too. So, both going to be, struggling to beat him, I guess.
You asked him the question, Swamp Major, and tonight he's answered it.
Yeah, he stood up tonight, Matt. He sort of needed to turn away to see just where he was at, and he made his own luck. And to his credit, he ran a good third.
Where do we see him next?
Yeah, well, the plan before the race, Matt, was to go tonight and miss the Derby and head in a fortnight's time to the Southern Supremacy final. So, I think that's the right thing by the horse. So at this stage, that's the plan, but we'll see what happens over the next day or two.
And the plan has obviously unfolded that he's not going to the Derby. The last 6 runnings, though, and I keep talking about it's the key lead-up race, and the winners come out of the Vero Flying Stakes, but Only Have Faith in Me has won that race and gone on and won the Derby in the last 6 years.
Yeah, it's been a key lead-up. Interesting facts. Of course, Lockerburn got beaten by Isaiah by a nose, so I think it'll change this year, Greg. I think we'll get back on track. Lazarus will beat Classy Brigade. I thought runs out of that race, it had a lot of merit. Swamp Major's not there this week, but I thought Shandale did a good job from a second row draw. I think it'll improve a lot with the run, and of course we've got Buster Brady in this week as well, coming off good Auckland form.
Yeah, look, the Derby is always traditionally a race that is sought after by so many. You must be pleased with the numbers that have actually ended up in it.
Yeah, we've ended up with a good number because I think those top echelon races, everyone knows the form, and I think the trainers these days are very astute in where they can grade their horse. So they don't want to send their horse around unless it's going to be competitive. So to get any top race like that where you can get a double-digit number to go around and hit the start. You've got to be happy with that. So no, we're very happy with it. I think Lazarus is clearly a top pick, and he'll start a short price favourite. But I think Craig's right. I think Shandale's run last week, another 650 metres will be right up its alley, and he's another one that's copped a string of horror draws for poor old Gerald.
Yeah.
Even last week I had to shake my head when he drew the second line again. So he's got maybe not quite as good a draw again this week, drawn 5.
But better than what he's had.
Yeah, absolutely, and he went good. He'll be a good chance.
Starting to really establish itself as a key lead-up race to the New Zealand Derby is the Stora Motors New Zealand Trotting Oaks, and this was a great battle from about the quarter pole. Wilma's Mate appeared to be travelling beautifully coming around that final bend, and as it unfolded, that's exactly how she was going.
To sunny afternoon, the leader is Wilma's Mate. She put it to Highgate down the back, who couldn't match her. Donegal Bettergretch getting to third, but Wilma's Mate super in the Oaks. Beat Highgate and Donegal Bettergretch.
We're joined by David Butt, who of course was the original trainer of this filly. She won the Triple Crown, if you like, on the coast, and you made an inspired decision to hand her over to Paul. Just talk us through that.
Well, Paul's a genius with them, and she just never trotted quite as good as I'd liked her to, and I thought, well, if anyone's going to get it right, we've only got a month or 6 weeks to the Oaks, it'll be Paul, so it's worked out a good decision.
Yeah, judging by that performance tonight, I think it's well and truly vindicated because she was outstanding.
Yeah, she had to go a bit earlier. She's probably better saved up a bit longer, but the one I was following wasn't going that good, but she kept going good.
Great win for Richard Cornelius as well, long-time supporter of the industry and of your barn as well.
Yeah, great owner. He's been with us a long time, and lovely to see him win.
The way she's trotted tonight, David, New Zealand Oaks is next. The New Zealand Derby is next week. She wouldn't be without a chance in that either.
Yeah, I imagine she'd go against the boys, but it's going to be a bit harder. But she should be right there.
All right, you're always a force to be reckoned with in this race, especially with those colours on. Congratulations, David.
Thanks, Greg.
So, David Butt, no question about that decision to send the horse to Paul Nairns. Just wasn't happy the way she was going, which is quite remarkable considering she was able to win the bonus on the coast. But, gee, she was travelling coming off the back.
Different Wilma's Mate than we saw on the coast, though, Greg. I know she won those 3 races, but she wasn't trotting squirrely. That's the best I've seen Wilma's Mate trot this season. That was incredible because she won so easily. It's not easy for the fillies to go on and take on against the Colts, but they've got a good record. I think Habibti's won it,
yep.
Skippy, and I think she's one of the boys. So I think 3 of the last 6 years the fillies have won it. This is a stellar crop of 3-year-olds, but she took off at the 800 metre mark, 4 wide, Greg. She peeled off and she ran a 28 quarter down the back and sustained another 28 quarter home and she won untouched. I thought, Highgate, I'm not sure what to make of her run. I thought she got the front relatively easily. She appeared to be travelling quite nicely. She going into the Derby this week from barrier 9.
Blinds go on this week.
Probably will help her chances, but gee, it's a stellar crop, isn't it? We've got Conan Bridge, we've got Mark Cooler, who we'll see later on. She'll have to be good Wilma's mate to win.
Dino, as soon as you see those colours and David Butt sitting in the car, you instantly have respect. And with the way she's raced last Friday night, she'll have that respect on this Friday.
Yeah, she will, and she won't go out at 6.5 like she did second favourite last week. So I think you're right, though. The key change in between this week and last week will be the blinds on with Highgate.
Yep, 7 from 15 now. Paul's gone back to back. He won it with Habibti Ivy, of course, last season, and yeah, I think she's a really big chance of going close. Although, as Craig did quite rightly say, the Derby is deep this year. All right, let's move on to Mombay. Now, he was resuming off the back of a gallop in his last start in Australia, but he had to be outstanding here, didn't he?
Well, he wasn't going to win this race when we picked this coverage up at the 150 metre mark, because Sunny Ruby, who's such a quick mare and had race day fitness on his side. You've got to remember, Mombay hadn't raced for 2 months and no trial, and of course, with the tribulations of horses, the horse being sold during the week, quite a tremendous training performance. Let's hear from the winning driver.
Work cut out tonight, and that time certainly reflected that.
Yeah, no, he first run back for a while, and you know, like I knew we were really smoking, so you know, I didn't know if he'd get there or not, but his condition just ran out in the last wee bit. I thought I was going to win by more than I did.
Of course, a lot of trepidation around the future of this horse over the last couple of weeks. That would have been trying times for Greg and Nina, so this one will certainly settle those things down.
Yeah, it certainly will. It's pretty hard training a horse when you offer big money like that and do everything right. So, you know, he's come out and won today, so he's not too far away.
I know you've won the race. The question is, did you think you got up?
I knew it was pretty close. Like I said, I thought I was going to win by a head, and then he just sort of died the last wee bit, but that's only natural in them sort of times.
All right, he'll improve immensely off the back of that into the Group 1 next week, and he's certainly the horse to beat. Yeah, no, he'll definitely improve. He's such a beautiful gaited trotter. He's got the whole future in front of him, you know. He's just such a great mannered horse. The world's his oyster, really, I think. Yeah, very reminiscent of the superstars as to where they landed. Sunny Ruby, such a quick beginner, got in front of Mombay, but was probably not aided around that final bend. About the one galloping on the inside meant that she got left a sitting duck and got there a little bit too early.
She's got a 200 metre sprint, Sunny Ruby, and she had to go 400 metres from home.
Auto galloping, yeah,
that didn't help her chances, but she is a very, very quick mare, Sunny Ruby, and she'll race this Friday night as well. This is the start of the race here. Unfortunately, we had 3 gallopers early on. Amaretto's son, one of them, and there was also a couple of gallopers around the last bend, but on Mombay, Greg, as I say before we saw that interview with the driver, great training performance by Greg Hope. I mean, he's got a lot on his mind. This horse obviously possibly sold last week and hadn't had a trial leading into that race. You can see massive improvement going into the Fred Shaw Memorial this week. He'll take on Shimon, who wasn't there last week, and Springbank Sam and a couple of others. But for me, tremendous run. I think he's a big improver this week. He's got big races, probably 4 more Group 1s on his card before the end of the season, including the Anzac Cup and obviously the Road Cup. And on his race rival, Speeding Spur, was back having a serious hit out last Saturday. He'll go to the workouts this week.
Of course, won the trotting free-for-all on New Zealand Cup Day, and that's when a lot of people, Dino, went, he's pretty serious.
He kind of put his hand up that day and really said he was a serious racehorse. I think, you know, we'd love to see him in the Dominion towards the end of the year. The country's richest trotting race probably befits a horse of his calibre. So, you know, I thought Sunny Ruby's run was really good. I thought it exactly summed up that way. She got left in front. She's got that short, sharp sprint. I think if the race was run a little bit differently, she had to come off the fence when Gavin had come off the fence about the 500 there when Harry de Mott was going to end up pocketing her. And I think, you know, given the way the race was run, if it was run a little bit differently, she could have ended up in the winner's stall.
A bit of that revenge on Jules Day, wasn't it, with Mombay picking up Sunny Ruby. Of course, it was such a small margin.
We've been talking about Jonty's journey over the last few weeks here on Your Box Seat, and their big night was on Saturday night.
absolutely great dinner tonight, and for a great cause for Jonty's journey, and great to see such a good turnout tonight, and all the harness racing family come together and get behind them, and wish them well with their trip overseas.
I'm pleased to be part of Jonty's journey, and hope Sam, Marie and the whole family have a good time and learn a lot from the trip over there, so pleased to be a part of it.
Oh, it's just a pleasure to be here on Jonty's journey. The harness racing industry is such a terrific industry, and well, we wish Marie and Sam and Jonty especially a wonderful trip, and it's just a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, hi everyone, we're here at Jonty Golding's evening, and it's been a great night so far, and we're just wishing him all the best for his trip over to the States, and hopefully everyone puts their hand in their pocket and supports a great cause.
And that is the
Yeah, wonderful night on Saturday night, and here he is, Monkey. Yes, he is the mascot, if you like, of this wonderful charity, and Marie and Sam wanted me to pass on their sincere thanks to everyone who's got behind it, including Addington Raceway. I know we keep talking about the industry being a family, but this is just another great example of how people get behind a really worthy cause.
Absolutely. I mean, we're just a very small part of it, and we're rapt to be able to play that very small part. But I think the racing people are special people, and it's situations like this that, that bad day at work then that we all have occasionally, you think, well, actually, it's a bloody good industry to be a part of. So, no, it's fantastic.
I know they raised over $75,000 via the auction items, etc. And Macmillan's horse feed, for every bag of Protein Plus for the next month, they're going to give $1. I think, talking to Morris McDermott, it could be 6,000 to 8,000 bags, so that'll drop in as well. And anyone, Craig, who wants to continue their support, I think they could do something through Addington Raceway, who are the charity there for the next 2 months. The Facebook page is still there,
so yeah, it's the harness racing community. They band together and to support this charity. It's a great cause, so well done to them, and great to have Steve Hansen on screen there, and obviously on the night itself attracted a lot of people. Great cause. Let's hope that we can raise a bit more still.
Yeah, it looks like they'll get over 100,000 the way things are going there. Speaking of milestones, Destrauss. Well, we've talked about him on the show a few times, but he keeps on racking these things up.
We talked about him about 4 months ago, didn't we? And now he's hit start 400, and on 400 was a winning run, Greg. He started off in New Zealand. He won 7. He's won another 83 in Australia, so he's had 90 wins. He'll go to Albion Park this Saturday night to create history and have start 401. This was him winning last week at Albion Park.
Destrauss with the lead, running on the stablemate Funny Boy. Storm for the Boys is fighting on. Destrauss gripping on. Super Freak, you're a freak. Destrauss too good. He beat the stablemate, fitting as well. Funny Boy, Storm for the Boys third.